Kathy, if you're ready, we'll get started.
Yeah.
So again, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. We're really excited about today's topic. It's definitely something that we're passionate about and something that we strongly feel that we can add value to your business and to your brands. For those of you that maybe aren't as familiar with HM Graphics, it's been a while since I've done an overview as to who HM Graphics is and how they're affiliated with the John Roberts Company. But the John Roberts Company did acquire HM Graphics March of 2019. So just about 2 years ago to the day. The merge has been a natural fit. We share a commitment to excellence for every client and every day. HM Graphics brings large format printing plus specialty kitting and engineering into the suite of capabilities at the John Roberts Company. So we're really excited to be able to leverage their expertise, their equipment, and all of their talent that they have there in Milwaukee. So Kathy offices out of our Milwaukee location, and she is today's speaker. So we're excited to have her.
Thank you.
Yeah. So with that, Kathy Sandstrom is today's speaker. She's better known as the Box Lady. Kathy brings a wealth of knowledge to dimensional mailing. Backed with her decades of experience, she is the John Roberts HM Graphics thought leader in guiding clients from concept to construction when it comes to dimensional mailing. So I'm going to go over just a quick what to expect during today's call. I'm going to give a quick review of a buyer's journey just so you can understand where dimensional mailing sort of falls into that funnel. Kathy will review why dimensional mailings and the impact that it can have, who's using dimensional mailings today, the ROI that you could expect from the dimensional mailings. And then she has quite a few examples to be able to share with you. Hopefully it'll spark some inspiration and you can kind of see what dimensional mailings could do for you. And she'll touch on our large format capabilities that kind of go hand in hand with that. And then today's offer, if you stick with us for the rest of the call, we'll be able to share some exclusive consultative things that you'll get from us today. And then we'll wrap it up with some Q&A. If you have any questions throughout the call, please use the chat function. We'll keep this free flowing and we can tap into all of Kathy's expertise as we go. Hopefully that sounds good to everybody. So this is a very general version of a buyer's journey to keep it simple. Most of you probably have many layers within each of these, within your brands, your products, your services. But when we look at dimensional mailings and where you will see the strongest ROI, we're looking at the customers that fall into that green boxed area. So our purchase area, they're about to make a purchase or already made a purchase, and you are going to give them a thank you or a follow-up to hopefully then gain their loyalty and kind of move them down the track to the next section, to turn them into a longtime customer and then hopefully bring them into advocacy where they then become a champion for your brand, your product, your service. They start telling you their friends, sharing on social media and all of that good stuff. So just kind of wanted to bring this to the forefront just to kind of wrap our heads around where dimensional mailing really makes sense from a financial standpoint. But of course, if you really want to make the strongest impact at awareness or consideration, it's definitely something that you can do. We would just suggest that you try to target in that list as much as possible, just so you can get the strongest ROI for your efforts. So with that, Kathy, I will turn it over to you.
All right.
Share with us everything you know about dimensional mailing.
Oh, I will do that. Well,
Perfect.
Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm really excited to be able to share some information with you and some examples, which I think are more exciting than just talking about it. So why dimensional mailing? And I think especially during the pandemic, and we're all feeling it, we're working remotely. Our customers, perhaps in a business to business environment, are limiting how many vendors they'll allow in to talk about their products or services. So how do we reach the potential buyer? And direct mail has been a very important answer to this problem. And not only just general direct mail, but what we're talking about today, the dimensional mailing that might have more impact. What we find today is that customers are needing this more than ever to feel important and appreciated. And if you send them a box to their home or to their business, the recipient's going to open it. They're going to be excited about it. And it also can have a better impact on the offer. It's more likely that they'll take action. There's another component that we've witnessed and why our customers have used this method is word of mouth. When you receive a very well executed package that has a wonderful offer or maybe even a sample or a gift included, you may go to the next step of communicating this on social media or communicating with friends and family. So it adds that extra layer that you may not get in today's normal direct mail environment. If you want to go to the next slide. Who are using the dimensional mailers? What we're finding is the business-to-business marketers are struggling, as I mentioned earlier, especially during COVID, that it's tougher to have a face-to-face meeting, perhaps, to get your message across or your offer on selling products or services. So to reach that decision maker, what do? We've had success with customers where I'm going to show you an example here. This was a well done direct mail box that had a pretty exciting offer, which made the response extremely high to this package. What it was is that they wanted to have an online survey filled out so that they could gather information about their prospective prospects. And in order to have someone take action, they offered to send them a tablet if they filled out this online survey. Now, that offer is pretty phenomenal, but it did get people to respond and gave that customer the opportunity to follow up with some very, very solid leads and prospects. So this was a great example of how to reach a business-to-business customer. We're also seeing the business-to-consumer market using these dimensional mailings to send products to try at home, especially during this era that we're living in where people are staying at home more frequently. This was a clever little box that sent a packet of dog food to test, as well as a coupon to offer them to hopefully have them try the product, be excited about it, and then turn around and purchase it. We're finding also with the business to consumer, the other possible opportunity here is for cosmetics, other personal product samples. Again, people are at home, you send it to their home, they can try the product and hopefully in turn purchase it. Loyalty campaigns. Retaining existing customers is critical in today's environment. And we're all familiar, a lot of travel and industries like that are giving us benefits if we're loyal to them. So sending a package, and I have another example of this one. The airline industry has been famous for their loyalty programs to retain customers, and it's their mileage programs. So to offer the program, you might send out a direct mail piece, and then if somebody signs up, then you send them their membership card and possibly a branded gift if they're one of the higher users in that program. Next slide. So as I mentioned in the rewards programs, it's very popular with travel, retail, and credit cards. the credit card companies as well. This is a gorgeous package that was a way to send the actual credit card to the person, giving them the incentive to use their card. This was a self-mailer, had the letter and welcome message went into the back of the piece. And then it created a non-issue with a match because we had a die cut window, and the letter then just peered through the die cut window, shrink wrapped and mailed out. Beautiful package with wonderful coatings as well. Welcome kits are another way to send out a dimensional mailer. The higher education world has started to do this, and it's been very successful. When a college student applies for different schools and then they determine and decide, okay, I'm going to go to this particular university, universities now are sending out welcome kits. Enclosed in these welcome kits can be anything from perhaps a t-shirt branded with the university logo. In this particular case, it was a beautifully printed and branded day timer for the student to use while they're in school. What they're finding with the welcome kits for universities, this is where you'll see some social media interaction, and that again is hitting their target audience. So it's interesting that here you send out your direct mail piece, and of course that's about retaining a student in your university, but then it takes the next step and that word of mouth component where they're going to take this box and feature it on their social media posts. There's also the opportunity for welcome kits for luxury products. Automotive companies have been doing this for quite a while. They'll send out a box that maybe will have included in it a sticker for your window, but also the information about the car you purchased. Again, people want to feel appreciated. You just spent a tremendous amount of money on a vehicle, and to have somebody send you then almost a gift as a thank you, it's going to create loyalty and possibly a repeat purchase or a word of mouth referral. Making your customers brand advocates with a thank you kit is another popular program for retailers as of late. This was a very clever way. This was a women's fashion store, and they took their top clients for the year and sent out a thank you. In this box, there was a bracelet that was being sent to the recipient as a thank you, but there was also an additional bracelet. And what the campaign was, is it said one to wear and one to share. Again, you have that young market, young demographic who's going to get excited about this. First of all, they've been thanked for their purchases throughout the year, but now they're going to have that way of giving a gift to a friend or a family member, which word of mouth is going to become their advocates for the brand. And this also ended up being a big social media post where people were excited about this dimensional box they received with a gift. We can go to the next. So what's this return on the investment? You know, dimensional mailings are going to be more expensive than a self-mailer. However, the return on the investment is that you are sending these, it's easier to sell to your existing customer base. And in fact, the reason why that's so true is that first of all, they have prior knowledge and experience with your brand. And every time you touch them with something that makes them feel special, it's easier to convert them into a buyer for some other product or service that you're selling. We can scroll to the next screen, Sarah, if you want to even go to the next one. In fact, it costs 5 times more to acquire a new customer than it does to keep current ones. if you want to go, this is backed up with
Yeah, I
data.
think that's important too. When you look at the cost analysis, you can do all of this activity for awareness, awareness, awareness to gain new customers. When you just take care of the customers that you have and treat them,
Right,
you can probably get some upsell, cross-sell opportunities within that. So that's a great
exactly,
point.
exactly. In fact, they say that it's the probability of a company selling to an existing customer is 60 to 70%. That statistic surprised me. And that the probability of selling to new customers is only 50 to 20%. So that's why you're seeing a lot of these rewards or loyalty campaigns, or sending out products to existing customers as being so popular. It works to maintain that and grow within your customer base. So that customer loyalty is that we stated 80% of your company's future revenue comes from 20% of your existing customers. So you can see why it's so critical to keep those existing customers happy. Next screen. So I'm certain that most of you watching today are either in marketing positions or creatives or production managers. So how do you execute the production of a dimensional mailing? That's where we can come into play at John Roberts and HM Graphics. We have the experience and we can guide you through this process. The most important thing, there's three things that you have to really figure out before we even can start talking. What is your mailing quantity for your campaign? What are you thinking? Is this going to be a real targeted campaign to maybe only 100 people? Or are you going to send out 100,000 pieces to consumers? Once we know that mailing quantity, then that will determine some things we'll get into in a minute. What's your offer? Are you going to be sending a package that has a product sample, or is this an offer for a gift to promote someone to take action on your offer? What is the timeline for your campaign? So once we have those three things answered, we can start helping you with the design process. And when I say design, I'm talking really the engineering of the package. What we'll do is we'll engineer it and then provide the guidelines for you to drop in your graphics. So we don't get involved with the graphic design. Is what we'll be talking about now is the mechanical engineering. Next slide, Sarah. So what we'll do, we'll get your sample. Let's say you are putting in a product sample. It's going to be a cosmetic, a special cream, anti-wrinkle cream that you want to send out to a consumer mailing. So once we have that, we'll create the white paper mock-up. We'll work with our customers. Now we can show you examples like what I did today. We have a huge sample department, so we can show you some existing samples, perhaps, of things we've done for other customers. That helps get the ideas going. And then from that point, after discussions with you, we'll create a white paper mock-up with the products enclosed inside of it. At that point, we'll get a postage estimate. Postage is going to be the fixed expense on this campaign. So it's really, really important early on to figure out what your postage cost is. And then we'll test the mailing perhaps with the product enclosed, especially if it's something that's a little more fragile. It doesn't have to happen always, but it's important and a good step to take. Why it was important to understand the quantity, that's going to dictate the production method. If it is a small quantity of under 200 pieces, that's where large format printing can play a integral part of making sure we can do this cost effectively for those small quantities. Also, let's say you're sending out some type of product that's fragile. Then we may want to construct and engineer the package using a corrugate material, and then that can be printed on the large format equipment. If it's a larger quantity, and on average, I would say we do anywhere from 2,500 to 5,000, and many times more than that. But on average, I would say, some of these boxes are the smaller quantities in that range of a few thousand. That's where you would want to design it, and we'll engineer it to fit on a sheet fed press, and that it can be automated in folding gluing, or it can go from folding gluing into hand assembly for pack out, and it makes it easier to keep that hand assembly cost as low as possible. So we're really here to help you engineer these kits so that you can go to market with something that's very impactful, but of course, keeping that cost as low as it can be. So it even helps your return on your investment. This was another example that's on the screen right now, but it was a really clever piece that they basically were encouraging them to have a cup of coffee on them. And inside the package were little packets of instant coffee. And this, again, we had to engineer, keeping in mind that there was that product inside of it. They wanted it to be a small package, but a package big enough that it wouldn't get lost in the shuffle. And this piece, again, we helped with the engineering. So as I said, we get the product, the samples you're going to be putting into it, and then we can engineer something that will make sure it arrives in good order. And in this case, there were some little channeled compartments so that they fit in there without a problem. So that we can go to the next screen. So today, what we would like to offer to you is obviously our free consultation on any project that you might have coming up. And with that, we'll create the white paper mock-ups for you, the die lines that we will send to you to drop in your graphics and help you make a dimensional package for whatever your client product is or service or what your campaign is. And we would love that opportunity to help you. I don't know if we have any questions today, and if you want to see any more examples. I do have a few more examples, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, I think that's great, Kathy. I know we talked a little bit about adding a specialty item into the package to get people to engage with a product. But that, we can also put a message in there. It doesn't necessarily have to be a specialty item. The whole goal is to get your message across, right? So in order for your message to get read, they got to have it in their hands. They got to open it up. And I think dimensional mailing is a great way to do that. Did get a message from Joan. Is postage expense to mail a credit card in a box?
It depends. Now on the package that I showed, which was pretty compact, that it's going to be a few dollars to send that out in the mail. But that has been a successful approach, especially when it's a card. This was to promote the new Discover It card. And so it was getting people to buy into the benefits of that particular card. So they went a little bit to the high end to get the excitement for people to join that program. So it is a little more expensive than if you were to just send it in a number 10 envelope, of course.
For sure. Gary asked, do we make video mailers? Yes,
we do. And that's something that we can really help guide you. We can even source the video screens. The video screens can be custom to have, let's say, chapter buttons, as they call them. We've done video mailers that are dimensional, where you'll have pages you turn, and as you turn it, you push a button and the new chapter of the video will be prompted. So we can definitely be a great resource to help you through that process as far as engineering the package, making sure the video techniques are there for you. And then we do an actual prototype sample with the video screen. So yes, we can definitely help with that. package as well.
Yeah, and imagine the impact that that has. Just imagine getting something like that in the mail, and instead of having to read something, it's a video prompt that
Right.
getting that message across. I mean, that definitely is a brand differentiator.
It is, and especially right now, as we all know, it is very challenging to get a face-to-face meeting with someone. And if you could do it in a video way, that can be very effective. It's actually pretty
Definitely.
popular.
So
One other
asking, what increase of ROIs are you seeing in these cool dimensional packages? I know a lot of times clients don't necessarily share the exact numbers
Right.
with us, but what is your feel for the increase?
It's definitely, we're talking double-digit response rates with packages. Again, I think it's because you get people excited, they open it. The offers are usually pretty exciting as well, so that's going to, of course, help your response rate. But there is definitely an increase, as I would say, a double-digit increase of response rates. It's I've noticed in this past year a definite increase in how many dimensional direct mail packages are going out.
Perfect. So Jim asked if we had any examples that we could show of a video mailer, and we do. So we can share that with everyone on the call. I don't have one in my office at this time, but we do have some examples of that we would be happy to share.
Yes, and unfortunately, I don't have one with me right now either. But we can send you a link via email with an example.
Sure. So Larry asked if we've done a mailing to consumers asking them to give money to a cause, some sort of donation of sorts, is my guess.
Yes. We work with some well-known nonprofit organizations where they look for that. And they have found, again, because of the target audience are people that may be of a higher income level. And so you can't just necessarily do a number 10 envelope. That's not going to get them excited about what the campaign is. So usually when it's a campaign to promote a fundraiser, the dimensional mail has worked, where it may be an offer to come to a dinner or something, but yes, we could show some examples. I'd be willing to send an email again with some pictures, perhaps.
Perfect. If there's any other questions, please use the chat function. We'll try to get as many questions answered as possible.
There's another example I just wanted to share.
Sure.
And this is a business to business that, this was for a hearing aid manufacturer. And what's exciting about this example is that it takes with reps not being able to go into a clinic, for example. This was able to go to a clinic. It was a self-mailer box. And it then converted into a counter display for the hearing aid clinic to put up on their consumer patients that were coming in. And then there was a sliding drawer that had all of the sales materials, as well as a pad, a little take one notepad that was adhered to here. So this actually was a complete kit that could be sent and mailed to the clinic that had everything included in it as a little sales kit that turned into a display, a dimensional display. This was extremely successful for this particular hearing aid brand because they were finding it difficult to be able to actually have reps go into the clinics. So it can be used, dimensional mailings, not just as an offer to retain existing customers or grow your business in that way, but it could be a display that also promotes your product. in a store or a doctor's office or a retail establishment.
Perfect. Larry asked if we have samples at JR that we can show to clients. Yes, we have a large sample library. So get with your account executive,
Yes.
pass out some ideas of what you're thinking, and we can definitely point you in the right direction and get some samples sent your way. Skip said, love that, Kathy. Would love to have some photos of that so we could share with his company. So Skip, yes,
All right.
definitely get with Scott and we can share different samples with you. Not a problem.
Yeah, and definitely just let Scott know, for your mailing address, I'd be happy to send you an example of that sample. It's actually very well executed and it can be used in, different ways.
Perfect. Great. Well, Kathy, I appreciate your time. Did you have any closing thoughts before we wrap up?
Just that it's dimensional mail is becoming more popular and definitely not going away. And we can really be a great resource for you. As we just talked about, samples are a great way for you to communicate this to your clients. Show them examples of things that have been done elsewhere that were successful. So if you want, just contact your HM or JR rep and we'd be happy to put a sample kit together for you. And we could even be brand or industry specific of if let's say you're looking for college university examples or medical device company samples, whatever it might be, we'd be happy to send you those examples as well to be able to share with your customers.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining our call today. The recording will be sent out after the conclusion of this call, and then there will also be a survey attached to that. Please take the time to fill it out. Let us know what topics you're interested in. We definitely want to continue this educational series with you guys and just want to make sure that we're focusing on the topics that are of interest to you. So take the time to complete that survey and we will be in touch with our next Think Outside the Mailbox webinar series.
Great.
Thanks everybody and
thanks everyone. Take care. Have a good day.
Thanks, Kathy. Appreciate it.